All right, so this is going to be another bad movie review. This is going to be on Super Mario Bros. From 1993. It's the original adaptation of Super Mario. It is bad. I heard bad things about it. It is definitely bad. It is messy, and it is a bad adaptation. I mean, some of this stuff is baffling with the choices that they made. But it's directed by Annabelle Jankel and Rocky Morton, and the story is, starts off with a VO talking about the dinosaurs, how the dinosaurs used to roam the earth and things like that. There was a meteor that came down, wiped out the dinosaurs. That meteor actually split the earth into like two different dimensions, and some of the dinosaurs stayed over in that other dimension and evolved from there. It's it's crazy, but Daisy, played by Samantha Mathis, when she was a baby, or really an egg, she was taken from that dimension and brought to some nuns, and so she grew up here in this dimension of Earth. And 20 years later, she's a college student, and she happens to be working at this dig site slash construction site where they're trying to find the original meteor that killed off the dinosaurs because they believe it's there. And this rich guy that owns the construction site, and he also owns the plumbing business that keeps Mario and Luigi from making money. He wants them gone. He's like, hey, I'm trying to do some construction and things like that. So she leaves and she goes to make a call to the college to get more security or whatever. And that's when she meets Mario and Luigi. That's Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. So they end up hanging out with her later on, going to dinner with her because Luigi really likes her, just right off the bat. And she ends up getting taken once Luigi and her go to the dig site or whatever. She's showing it to him. She ends up getting taken and brought to that other dimension. And there's this stone that she always has around her neck ever since she was a baby, or really it was with her when she was an egg. And it's really important. Apparently, if it gets put back into, it's a piece of the meteor. If it goes back into the meteor, it will blend the dimensions together, and that's bad. That's what King Koopa wants to have happen. King Koopa's played by Dennis Hopper. Mario and Luigi, they end up getting that stone or whatever it is, that necklace, and so that's why he's after them. They get arrested, they get brought to jail, they end up getting brought to him and things like that. But they actually lost that stone by this black lady. I think her name was Big Bertha. She stole it from them, and so they don't actually have it anymore. And King Koopa actually has this machine that that devolves or evolves people. And then later on, he has guns that can do it later on too. It feels real forced. Just so he has like a weapon to chase him around with or whatever. And then they use it against him at the end. But they end up getting away after. Did they devolve? Yeah, they devolved King Koopa, and so now he has like a lizard tongue, and his eyes are different and things like that. They end up in a desert after like this car chase and things like that. They end up taking on his henchmen again, and then they go to this dance club. Mario puts the moves on Big Bertha to get the the stone necklace back, but they don't end up getting it. I guess his girlfriend gets it. I guess that's his girlfriend, Lena, played by Fiona Shaw. And so she has it, and she wants to be partners with him, but he doesn't want to be partners with her, so she turns on him. There's a lot going on in this. The original ruler, Daisy's father, actually got devolved all the way down to fungus, which is helping them out and things like that. There's a lot going on in this. So eventually they do go over to his building to try to save Daisy, but also the other women, including Mario, I guess his girlfriend, because women were getting taken before Daisy because they were trying to look for her. So they end up saving her. They take on the Goombas. We'll definitely talk about the Goombas later on, which are pretty much like his henchmen, like King Koopa's henchmen. The girlfriend of King Koopa, Lena, or partner, or whatever. I guess that was his girlfriend. They never really specify. They're bathing in mud together and things like that. They're kind of together. She ends up actually using that necklace or whatever and connecting it to the meteor, which then blends things together. And blending things together is just making Mario, King Koopa, and his Goombas disappear and end up in the other dimension, in regular Earth. And then they end up taking it out again, and they end up coming right back. What makes Daisy so important, because I was like, why is she? She doesn't have the stone. Why do you even care about her at this point? She actually has the power to be able to take the piece out of the meteor and put it back in without dying. The girlfriend of King Koopa, like she dies after she puts it into the meteor. So yeah, Mario and Luigi, they have their final confrontation with King Koopa. They end up using the devolution or whatever gun to turn him into. They turn him into back into a dinosaur, like a T Rex type thing, and then they end up turning him into like some ooze or some goop or whatever. Earlier on, he said something like, "Oh, before we climbed out of the ooze or whatever." So that's I guess, the payoff from that setup. Daisy wants to stay there. Her dad gets turned back from fungus. Things like she wants to stay there and help out in that other dimension, and so Luigi's all sad about it. But then she comes back to get them again. It's like, "Oh, I need your help," and it's clearly setting up sequels, and that's it. So positives, the performances I guess are okay, right? Like they're fine. Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, they don't really feel like Mario and Luigi, but they're fine. Uh, King Koopa, Dennis Hopper, that's probably the worst in the movie, like because he's always monologue. It's the material along with pretty much everything else in this, but yeah, he's not good, right? He's not good. He's over the top and things like that, and it just it's off-putting. It's definitely not a good performance from him.
I got a couple of plumbers bringing me the rest of the meteorite. Soon to be dead plumbers. And by the way, you really ought to try to pull yourself back together again. Slime bucket.
It's shot okay, I guess. Like, the sets and the street and things like that, another dimension. It's lazy because it should be a little bit more inspired than that. But than just looking like another street, and the people just look like people and things. But it looks all right. And then they did incorporate the fact that Mario and Luigi are plumbers. They did incorporate that into the story, right? They keep pulling out wrenches and different tools. They're about to get into something. They go to grab their tools, and they're messing around with the pipes in King Koopa's building. So they at least tried to incorporate that. So I'll give them a little bit on that. That's all the positives, though. I guess we can start with Mario and Luigi. Now, Mario kind of looks like Mario, like Bob Hoskins kind of does. He has the mustache and things like that, especially when he's wearing the red and blue outfit. But John Leguizamo, y'all didn't even try. Like you could have at least had him grow out a mustache or something. There's nothing of that. They don't feel like brothers because of the very obvious age difference, and all they really do throughout the movie is bicker, right? And none of it's funny. Like it's not enjoyable in any way or entertaining. It's just them arguing. They're arguing constantly, unless they're like celebrating after they do something cool or do something good. But for the most part, they're just arguing, and it just gets annoying.
Well, what are you complaining about? Come on, we're here, aren't we?
You're getting worse.
I'm getting worse.
Hey, the fungus just saved us.
What are you talking about? It was my driving that saved us.
It wasn't your driving that just saved us. That tunnel just sneezed us out, and then this giant booger caught us in there. That's what saved us.
Well, you said the tunnel.
I did not. I said Parkway.
You meant the tunnel. Hey, go on. Pick a direction. Any direction you like.
The movie is all over the place, right? For one, it feels padded because at certain points it feels like the story could be over. But it feels padded and also random. When they go to jail, there's a guy, the police officer that's booking them before they go to into the jail cell. There's a lady just sitting on the desk and just moving her foot up and down on him while he's doing it, and he doesn't address her. Nobody tries to like get her off the table or whatever. Nobody even says who she is or whatever. Maybe she's supposed to be in a cell or something. They don't say anything about that. The Goombas just randomly are susceptible to music, and they just start dancing in the elevator and dancing and things. I was like, what the fuck is going on? The ruler, the old ruler, Daisy's father, then the king or whatever, he was devolved into fungus. And it's like, wait a minute, all the other ones are like dinosaurs and things like that, and they get devolved into dinosaurs and things. But for whatever reason, the king gets devolved into fungus? What? And it feels like it's only there so that they can involve mushrooms and he can help them and stuff like that, right? Because there's mushrooms in the Mario games. So I guess we can talk about the adaptation stuff, right? You have those random boots or whatever that they use to jump really high because you jump in the games. They have Yoshi. he's just, I guess, one of the only dinosaurs that didn't evolve into being pretty much humanoid. So, you know, he's like a little dinosaur. He's like the pet of the royal family, and he's there with Daisy. And, you know, he sticks out his tongue at one point, and that's pretty much it. It's like, well, you could have just left him out completely at that point. Obviously, King Koopa, who's pretty much Bowser from the games, he has the spikes on, like the spiky hair, and that's pretty much supposed to be the spikes from the character. I was like, well, he's still nothing like the character though. But it's like, hey, we did it, right? And then the worst of it is those fucking Goombas, man. Like, I remember, like, the Goombas didn't look like this. They did giant suits with lizard heads or whatever. It's like, no, they were like little mushroom looking things with mouths, and you jump on them, they go flat and things like that. It's nothing like this. It's like, who made this decision? It is ugly as fuck, especially when they have the really cheap looking ones where, like, you know, you have the ones with the round faces and the mouths. That looks ugly, but at least they put more time into that. There's the ones that have like the nose and things, right? And it feels like there's just somebody in the suit just using a really cheap like lizard prop and pushing the head out of the neck. It looks terrible. It feels like they didn't have much to go off of from the Mario games. So they just said, hey, let's just throw some things together, throw some things around, and then we'll put little like winks and nods to the games. Like the fungus, that's the old ruler or whatever, he's helping them and things like that. He makes little small bombs come out, the bombs that look like that look like they do in the game, and they don't fit at all in this. And where the fuck is he getting these bombs from? He's creating them inside of his fungus? It doesn't even make sense. Like this shit is it's already bad, but like the adaptation stuff is just stupid. The villain doesn't make sense. King Koopa, I already said, Dennis Hopper's performance doesn't really work, but he does things that doesn't even make sense. It feels like it's like padding. Like earlier on, when, you know, he tells people he's gonna go after them because they have like the stone necklace or whatever that he's going after. I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna have them bring them, his people bring them back to him, right? But no, he has them put in jail, and then he pretends to be a lawyer for like a minute, and then snaps on them anyway, and takes them to the de-evolution chamber. It's like, what was the point of all that then? Just bring them to the de-evolution chamber from the start. It feels like padding. He's a terrible villain. Earlier on, right, they could have gotten rid of him, because they take out like a couple people and then put him in the de-evolution chamber and turn it on, and all it does is change his eyes and his tongue. I think it changed them. I think that's what happened. His eyes definitely changed. But if they'd have de-evolved him completely, there would be no villain. There'd be no main villain. Maybe the girlfriend character, maybe. But like, he would have been taken out right then. He's that incompetent. He has these incompetent cousins as his henchmen. Then he makes them smart enough to like pretty much turn on him. And they still failed when they were smart. He turns the people, de-evolves them into Goombas, and then uses them as his henchmen, knowing that Goombas are fucking stupid. He even says that they are. It's like, he's doing all the wrong shit. And then also there are these signs up that say vote for Koopa or whatever. And it's like, wait a minute, why are they voting for him? He turned the king into fungus. It seems like everybody knows about that too. And you mean to tell me he had people like vote democratically for the new king? Like, that even makes sense. Like that it's, the writing of this just doesn't make sense at all. It's just like whatever they could think of. They're just throwing shit together. It's not good. He's a terrible villain. Terrible. There was never a point where I took him all that seriously. He was just like kind of silly to me and over the top. And like, he's one of the worst parts of this.
I still do not have the meteorite piece. I'm about to lose everything. We can talk about this later, if later even occurs.
What you care about is her.
What I care about is the future of our species.
That might be it, I guess. Like, it's just it's a lazy, lame movie. Lame and lazy just as a movie, but also as an adaptation. It's what's it called? Mario and Luigi. They don't really feel like Mario and Luigi. All they do is bicker over and over again. This other dimension, right? All it is just another street with desert around it. And all the other, I guess, evolved dinosaurs, they just look like people with different colored hair and things like that. It's like, really? You're not going to put any time and effort into it? You're only going to do that for those ugly ass Goombas, which don't make sense as an adaptation anyway. It's just lame. It's lame. This is a lame movie, man. I was bored out of my mind. I really was, man. I didn't even say this. The effects, like at points they do use like CGI, and it looks terrible. Like when they first go over to the dimension, it looks so bad. It looks bad, but like most of this stuff is practical. But when it is CGI, it doesn't look great. Yeah, I didn't like this. I didn't like this at all. And if I was a fan, like a huge fan of Super Mario and things like that, I'd been ready to destroy my fucking laptop watching this earlier today. It is awful. It's awful. I'm not gonna go bottom rating though. I'm not gonna go that far. I'm just gonna give it trash. This is garbage, and pretty much everybody knows it. I can't imagine that new movie is not better. It's got to be. I've heard bad things, but it's got to be better than this. But anyway, that's Super Mario Bros. 1993. Subscribe, and we're done.